Hey, welcome to part 2 in this series. My name is Keva, and we're talking about sports betting simply explained. So in this video, I'm going to go over the most common bet types, which are the money line, the spread, the total over under, how you can read them, how you can calculate whether your bet is profitable or not, and you're going to feel really empowered and great at the end of the video. So let's jump right into it. And before we jump to the tablet and actually start looking at the odds, I want to show you guys what it actually looks like going into the casino, seeing the big bet board. And when you go in there, you would see this board that looks like it was using 1940s technology. It almost looks like hieroglyphs because there's so much information crammed into this tiny little area. And they have all the different bet types. You know, you have minuses, you have pluses, like stuff is all over the place. So by the end of this video, you're gonna feel really confident in being able to decipher what's going on, understand what each bet is, and then figure out whether you're making profitable bets, because most of us are doing this to try to make money in the long run. You know, if you're doing it for fun, that's awesome. Okay, so now let me show you online what it would look like, because with sports betting now legalized in a lot of states and more and more states, you know, having that technology available, you're going to be seeing betting available online, and it's much cleaner, it's much simpler to see. So I'm showing an example right here. And what I did is I have transcribed that onto the tablet here. And if we just break it down, this is the Monday night game of the 2021 Week 1 season. We have the away team is always on top, so that's the Baltimore Ravens. They're going to be playing at the Raiders. And in the green, I have the actual odds. And there are three different spread types. Excuse me, there are three different bet types that you can make. You have the spread, you have the total, and you also have the money line. Okay, so let's start with the money line bet. The money line bet is simply you're betting on whether your team is going to win. And we're gonna write that down as well. Whether your team will win. Okay, very straightforward. And what that means is if you take a money line bet here on the Ravens, if the Ravens win by just 1 point or by 30 points, it doesn't matter, you win that bet. Really easy, really awesome. Okay, cool. And then let's review what a total bet is. A total bet, it's also called an over-under bet, is simply you're betting on the combined points from both teams. So the combined points from both teams are over or under that total. And so what that means is we see that the over-under for this game is 51. So those, you know, both of those values are going to be the same. But if we took the over, then what that would mean is that if the Ravens ended up scoring, I'm just going to say, let's say they scored 30 points here, and then the Raiders scored only 7 points, you know, the total for that would just be 37. So if we bet the over, we needed them to score over 51 points, but they didn't, they only scored 37, we would lose that bet. But if we took the under and said, hey, we need them to score under 51 points, and if the total, it just ended up being 37, then we would win that bet. Again, if you bet and if the total would be exactly just 51, then we would just get our money back. That's just called a push, right? You neither win nor lose, you get the base bet back. Okay, cool, so we understand the money line. We're just betting on whether our team will win or not. So if we take the money line for the Raiders, we would need them to win to, win these odds, and I'll explain that in a bit. The total is simply the combined total score from each of the team's points added together to get one number. And then if that number is over our total, we would win. If it's under, we would win that under bet if that's what we take. And then finally, we have the spread. And the spread is actually the most popular bet. And all it says is it's the margin by which the team will win or lose. Okay, so let me go into some detail about that because that's not so clear right off the bat. So what a spread is if we start by looking at the -5 for the Ravens. So whenever you see a minus, remember minus means that the team is a favorite. So minus equals, that's a favorite, If you see the plus, it's underdog. Okay, so we also see that here in the money line. So the Ravens are the favorite team, so that's why it uses the minus. The Raiders are the plus, and that's why they're the underdog. Okay, nice. So back to the spread. So we see that the Ravens are the favorite by the -5. So what that -5 means is, I'm gonna come up here. So what that -5 means is that the Ravens, if we take the Ravens -5 spread bet, it means the Ravens need to win by 6 or more. And why 6 or more? If they win exactly by 5, you know, that's just gonna be a push. Again, so we would just get our money back. So to win the bet, we need them to win by 6 or more points. Okay, and then, so on the other side, so for the Raiders, they have the +5, they're the underdogs. So there, we need the Raiders, would actually need to either lose by 4 or less, or win the game, and they win. And we win the bet. Okay, also very nice. So again, here, if the Raiders lose by exactly 5 points, we would just get our money back. It's neither a win or a loss, it's a push. But if the Raiders just lose by 4, 3, 2, 1 points, we also win the bet. That's awesome. And if they ended up winning the game as well too, then we would win the bet. And how much we bet is, you know, the odds, the payout, excuse me, is just based on what these odds are. So the odds are written in the green here. And I made a video talking about the odds. The odds are the most important thing. You can check out that video right here, but let me just quickly review it. So let's talk about the spread. So let's say we ended up taking the Ravens at that -5. I'll just keep it in the screen here. So let's say we take the spread bet. We're gonna take the spread bet of -5 on the Ravens. So again, what does this mean? We need the Ravens to win by 6 or more, and we will win that bet. Okay, so but how much do we bet? So if you see the blue here, oh my God, if you see the green here, those are the odds. So that's -105. And to do just a quick reference for you, what this pretty much means is that you would have to bet $105 to win 100. So when you see it, it tells you how much you need to bet just to win like $100, okay? So you would have to bet 105 to win $100. So if the Ravens at the end of the game, they ended up winning by 6, we would win the bet. And you know, if we bet $105, then we would win that $100. Okay, really, really cool. And that's how those odds work here. You know, that would be the same thing for the total, right? So if the total ended up being, you know, 53 for the game, you know, but there we would actually have to bet 110 to win 100. Then we would win our 100. And the way that bet works, and this is important, is if you were to place, you know, a $110 bet here, if you win your bet, the total ended up being 53, then you would win 210 in total. Meaning you always get your base bet back when you win, and then you also get the additional, you know, $100 profit. I remember that was a big question for me when I started out, but that's an important one. And again, if you lose, then you know everything is gone. And then when it comes to the money line, we have just, you know, the similar odds calculation, and I will actually show you the trick for that. So when looking at money lines, and again, the money line is simply whether your team kind of will win. So the way we would just calculate that is if they're the favorite, remember the favorite is shown by the minus sign. So here we have -235. What you want to do is you want to take your odds and then divide it by the odds plus 100. And then this will give you the percent that the team is likely to win. So let's just do the same thing here. So what we're first going to do is drop the sign. Right, so if it's a minus or a plus, we would just drop the sign. So we would get 235. Let me adjust it so we can see better. And then again, we would just do 235, you know, plus the 100. So that's 235 divided by 335. And then you can always just whip out the calculator and do it real quick. So 235 divided by 335, and we get, you know, 71.4. So that's point. Okay, and then just to turn that into a percentage, you would just move this over twice, and then you would get 70.14%. And this is a really important number because what this tells us is the likelihood that the Ravens will win. So the sportsbooks here is saying, again, so for the Ravens, their money line is minus 235, and then for the Raiders, it is plus 190. So what this just translates to is 70.14%. So the sportsbook is saying, hey, we think that the Ravens are going to win 70% of the time. And then for the Raiders, let's just calculate that as well. So if we use that same formula that we talked about, right here, the only thing you're doing differently is because it's an underdog. Remember, the underdog is the plus. You're just going to do 1 minus the formula, because underdogs win less than 50% of the time, so it's going to be a smaller number. So you would just do that. So let's do that. So it's going to be 1 minus. Remember, we dropped the plus or the minus, so we get 190, and then it's 190 plus 100. So that would just simply be 1 minus 190 over 290. And then again, we take out our handy calculator. We clear it. 190 divided by 290. Cool, so that's 65. So it's just going to be 1 minus 0.65, and that is going to give us 35. So you want to be more precise using decimals for more long-term value, but roughly we're looking at 35%. And something you'll notice is that these two numbers do not add up to 100. The sportsbook does that on purpose, and I will probably explain that in another video. It's not too important, but it's just something to note. So here they're saying that they expect the Raiders to win 35% of the time. Okay, now let's talk about how you can place profitable bets. So if we review the three most popular type of bets, we have the spread. That's where if your team is the favorite, it needs to win by more than that spread to win your bet. Or if they're the underdog, they have to lose by less or win the game. Okay, cool. They have the total, so the combined total points of both of the teams, has to be over under whichever bet you take. And then finally, the money line bet is simply whether your team will win or not. And I'm going to use this money line and dive into that a little bit more here. So we did our calculation and we found out the percentage for the Ravens to win is 70%. That's what the sportsbook is saying. So what you want to do, to make profitable bets, before you even look at any of the lines, what you want to be doing is you want to come up with your own percentage. This is really, really, really important. This is really, really important. So step one is create your own probability of your team winning. I'm sorry if you can hear the dog barking in the back. It's doing a great job though. So create your own probability. So let's say if I think the Ravens are going to win 75% of the time. Okay, great. And what you do is when you take the number that you create and you want to compare that to, so this is me, so this is Keva. And then for the book, the sports book, they are saying 70%. So if your value is greater than what they predict, that means you have a profitable bet. And to illustrate that, the reason you know that is because we see that they are saying that the Ravens, you are minus 235. Again, what does that mean? I'm going to move it a little bit this way. That means that you have to bet 235 to win the 100. Okay, that's fine. But if I am saying that the Keva, so I am saying that the actual true odds is the 75%, and 75% in the terms of American odds are just going to be minus 300. How do I know this? Well, just through practicing, seeing the odds a lot, and also remember the quick math is just that over 100 plus the odds, and that's 75%, right? You're just looking at the 3/4. Okay, so I know that the true odds that what I project them to be is I would actually be needing to put down $300 to win 100. Okay, wow, that's a nice discount, right? When's the best time to buy anything? When it's on sale. So instead of having to pay 300, I only need to pay 235. Guess what? Profitable bet. Hell yeah, baby. Boom, check it. And that's how you know whether your bets are profitable or not. So for moneyline, and the way you would do it for the spread and over the spread and total bets. So the way that the book actually comes up with these two bets right here is what they do is they say, let's simulate this game many, many times. Okay, so I'm just gonna come over here so we can still keep that in the view. So and this is how you come up with the number two, is you have to answer this question, right? So step one is right? Let's say you simulate the game 100 times. Okay. And that means, you know, you're coming up with all different types of scores, right? Maybe one score for the Ravens, and then let's say Las Vegas would be that. Another time it would only be, you know, they would win 7-10. Another time it would be, you know, 40-30. And at the end of all of this, you calculate what's the average kind of win, what's the right word, difference, or what's the average win? Oh man, I'm struggling right now to come up, margin. There we go. What's the average win margin? Okay, so let's just say after all of that, they come up with the average win margin and it's actually 7. So of all these simulated games, the Ravens end up winning by an average of 7 points. So that is how they come up with the spread. Because the odds, remember, that you're placing here are, you know, close to 50-50. It's about like, you know, 51 or 52% here for that -105. So that's how they come up with spreads. And you should be doing the exact same process. So you should ask yourself, if this game was simulated, you know, 100,000 millions of times, what's going to be the average margin? And the way you do that is super important. But you need to kind of come up with your own process, and I can explain that in a different video. I just want to give overview of bets right here. Okay, and then they also do that for the total, right? Same for the over-under. Over-under is just O/U kind of, or total, right? So if they do the same process, they see, you know, the total here was 37, here was only 17, here was 70. So on average, what's the amount of points scored? Amount of points scored, right? That's the question they ask. And then from looking at all of these numbers, right, they come up with something like 50, okay? And then that's where they set the line. So that's how it's done. You know, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. But these are the 3 most popular types of bets at the casino in the sportsbook. And when you go look at that board, I will show kind of more examples now of again, what this looks like. But now you have the confidence, you know how to do it, you know how to do the quick calculations as well. And awesome. You know, thank you for watching.